The first day of the Florida Keys trip was mainly a travel day. Sunday morning, we arrived at the airport at about 6:45. We checked our bags, got our hats from Mr. Hall, and then headed to the gate with our chaperone groups once everyone was settled.
We then went through security, which actually didn't take as long as you would think with 35 people. Once we were through security, some people got Starbucks to wake themselves up.
Our flight left at 8:45, so we played a lot of games to kill the time. Some played Splat, some played card games, and some played with the hacky sack until it was time to start boarding the plane.
After a while playing games, it was finally time to board the plane. We flew with Southwest. Since we had such a large group, we had to board the plane last, which meant there weren't a lot of seats open next to each other.
Once everyone was settled on the plane, it was time to head to Fort Lauderdale. During the 3-hour flight, many people fell asleep, while others wrote in their journals, played games, and took pictures.
Finally, the flight started to descend into Fort Lauderdale. Once we landed and got off the plane, we got our bags from the carousel and had a quick bathroom break. We then headed out to the Academy bus where our tour guide, Mrs. Parker, was waiting for us with Subway.
Do it again! Like, how are you feeling right now?
Pretty good. Pretty mellow, but excited.
Excited? Where are we right now?
I think we're in Key Largo.
Yep.
Maybe
Somewhere around there.
We drove quite a way to a restaurant called Tarpon Creek, where we sat outside in the hot Florida weather. They had prepared a buffet for us that consisted of chicken fingers, pasta, cheeseburgers, applesauce, and salad. They also had a cooler that had water and soda so we could stay cool and hydrated and quench our thirst.
After dinner, we headed back to the bus and started driving to Sea Camp. Once we arrived, we had a little bit of time to get into our rooms and start unpacking a bit. After that, we all went outside the rooms and were split into 3 groups, and we met our group leaders, Kelly, Matt, and Andrew.
We then split into those groups and took a tour of the camp we'd be staying at for the next 3 days. Walking around the sea camp are little deer called key deer. We're so used to people that they just come right up to you and walk alongside you.
What are we doing right now?
We're gonna go watch the sunset.
And then where?
And then we're going to our night lab.
Okay.
After the tour, we had a little bit of a break to play basketball, volleyball, or unpack more. Then it was time for our first night lab of the trip. Our group learned all about algae and all of the good things it does for the ocean.
Disappointed. 3. Ready and
Blake! Blake, strike! Blake! Blake, strike! Go home fast! Go home fast! Go home fast! Go home fast! And Blake! Blake, strike! Blake! Blake, strike! Go home fast! Go home fast! Go home fast!
We also learned all the parts of algae and even learned a song and a dance about it. We then played Simon Says with the motions we learned for blade, stipe, and hold fast.
After that, we came back into the classroom and had some hands-on activities with algae. We then got to get a giant clump of algae and explored all of the organisms that live inside it. We found a lot of funky bugs and even some little crabs and shrimp. Once the lab was over, it was finally time to get back, finish some unpacking, and get some well-needed sleep after a long day of traveling. We would like to thank Mrs. Newhouse, Mrs. Jackson, Mr. Hall, and all of the chaperones for putting up with us throughout the trip and making sure we always had sunscreen on. We would also like to thank Mrs. Parker for everything she did to make the trip an unforgettable experience, and we would also like to thank the company Grand Classrooms for picking really good restaurants.